Here, gather round. All right, President.
Here.
All right, and I'm the secretary. All right. Oh, it's just us. We don't have a quorum. Well, we can't hold our meeting of all the wizards, so why don't we just do a subclass video on the Order of Scribes?
Okay. All right, Mitch. What is a Order of Scribes wizard?
The name is apt. And basically, this is someone that using their knowledge of Arcana and the written word, they focus on the flourishes and development of their spellbook and their spells. So much so that that spellbook has a mind that it releases, and they use that mind for amazing magical powers.
I see this as the type of wizard that other wizards are like, nerd.
Don't give away my character. That's my character build at the end.
No worries. All right, well, let's get into it. What is Wizardry Quill? You want to take this one?
Yes, at second level, as a bonus action, you can magically create a tiny quill in your free hand. The magic quill has the following properties. The quill doesn't require ink. When you write with it, it produces ink in a color of your choice. I prefer sparkly rainbow on the writing surface. The time you spend to copy a spell into your spellbook equals 2 minutes per spell level if you use the quill for the transcription, which I believe is normally 100 hours.
You bang on again, Mitch.
Close? Normally 2 hours. Just make sure you edit that last part out so no one knows.
Yeah.
You can erase anything you write with the quill. If you wave the feather over it and use your bonus action, provided the text is within 5 feet. The quill disappears if you create another one, or if you die.
What do you reckon? Do you get much out of that?
I do. I really, for my character build, I would be talking to the DM, changing that bonus action to make it disappear to a reaction.
Okay.
I will get to that later.
Nice. I look forward to it. I don't mind this. I think it's a bit of fluff. In color, you can make it disappear. Yeah, very selective as to you're gonna have to force it almost into games. But being able to write in your spellbook 2 minutes per spell level instead of 2 hours per spell level could mean that on a short rest you can spend 10 minutes prior to pumping a bunch of spells you just picked up, and so they'll be ready to go. Next long rest though, to put it to memorize them. So yeah, good, bad. Let's say at a long rest and you've got a whole wizard spellbook, you could just about transfer the whole thing depending on level and the spells you already have and such. So it will have some advantages.
All right. Do you want to take Awakened Spellbook?
I do. I would love Awakened Spellbook. At second level, you also gain using specially prepared inks and ancient incantations passed down by your wizardly order. You have awakened an ancient sentience in your spellbook. So at second level, while you are holding the book, it grants you the following benefits. You can use the book as a spellcasting focus for your wizardry spells. That's cool. It's flavor. I would have given it to people anyway. When you cast a wizard spell with a spell slot, you can temporarily replace the damage type with a type that appears in another spell in your spellbook, which magically alters the spell's formula for this casting only. The latter spell must be of the same level and as the spell slot you're expending. And thirdly, you get when you cast a wizard spell as a ritual, you can use the spell's normal casting time rather than adding 10 minutes to it. Once you use this benefit, you can't do so until you've had a long rest. And if necessary, you can replace the book over the course of a short rest by using your wizardry quill to write arcane sigils in a blank book or a magic spell book to which you've attuned. At the end of the rest, your spell's book's consciousness is summoned into the new book, which the consciousness transforms into your spell book along with all the spells. If the previous book still exists somewhere, all the spells vanish from its pages. There's a couple of big things out of that, and there's some things that are like halfish. What's your take?
Um, I think the huge one is getting an extra spell. Your ritual spell being cast as an action or normal casted
Oh,
time.
really? Okay.
Ridiculous. Um, Having access to one extra spell, especially at low levels, is huge.
It's good.
Usually, as a wizard, you try and put one or two of your allowable spells
Mm,
as ritual casts in the background, but this gives you straight access. Your familiar dies, normal cast. Like, it's one of these things that I think really closes the gap and actually does something for the wizards.
okay.
But the big one for the min maxes represent is the second one there. The cast a wizard spell changing the damage time.
Yes.
Oh boy,
Who
the
wants to
things we do.
cast Necro Ball or Lightning Ball
Hell yeah.
or Fire Bolt or Poison Bolt? Or it's getting cool. I think this ties in really well with the late abilities in this one. Is to you want to collect as many spells as you can get, and not only can you transfer them expediently quick, you want to get as many from all the different types. So I put a quick list together of some of the spells you might want to have, just because they give you multiple damage types in one spell. Also, tying in with your later abilities, these are also spells you would not want to get rid of, or otherwise you won't have access to them, and will limit the ability, the elemental types that you can bring out. So, at
Yep.
first level, I think a real good one is Chaos Bolt. Second level, you get Dragon's Breath. Third, Glyph of Warding.
Oh yeah.
Fourth, Elemental Bane. Fifth, there isn't a lot there that do multiple damage types, so it's Bigby's Hand just to get that force damage. Sixth level, you're getting Fizzband's Platinum Shield. At seventh, you're doing Prismatic Spray. At eighth, you're doing Illusionary Dragon. And at ninth, Prismatic Wall. If you have these spells, that gives you generally at least the 5 general elements of damage type. And on that, you want to go collecting every spell you can for all the different damage types and to trade them out for your 14th level ability.
OP as fuck.
It's good. Like, depending on the campaign, I'm playing a campaign where Descent to Avernus, where everyone's down in hell. There's a lot of fire resistances, there's a lot of poison resistances. You can just now change that damage type to electricity or something else. It's great to get in there and go up against something with lightning resistance, and then all of a sudden be like, oh, well, you know what, I'm changing it to acid.
100%. And it's one of those things that once you know resistances of certain types of beast and they're showing up in Avernus a lot, it can make a combat go a lot faster and a lot more efficient.
Give your
So,
spells a lot more volatility. Yeah, they're cool.
level 6, Manifest Mind.
Ooh.
So, at 6th level, you can conjure forth the mind of an awakened spellbook. As a bonus action, it's Leviosa. As a bonus action, while the book is on your person, you can cause the mind to manifest in a tiny spectral object, hovering in an unoccupied space of your choice within 60 feet. The spectral mind is intangible and doesn't occupy its space, and it sheds dim light in a 10-foot radius. It looks like a ghostly tome, a cascade of text, or a scholar from the past. That's pretty cool. I like that bit. While manifested, the spectral mind can see and hear. It has dark vision with a range of 60 feet and can telepathically share with you what it sees and hears with no action required.
Mm.
Uh, Whenever you cast a wizard spell on your turn, you can cast it as if you were in the spectral mind's space instead of your own using its senses. You can do a number of times a day equal to your proficiency bonus when you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. As a bonus, you can cause the spectral mind to hover up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see or it can see. It can pass through creatures but not objects. The spectral mind stops manifesting if it is ever more than 300 feet from you. If someone casts a spell magic If the Awakened Spellbook is destroyed, if you die, or if you dismiss the Spectral Mind as a bonus action. Once you conjure the mind, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a spell slot of any level to conjure it. Send the that's you. Oh my
That's
god.
me.
That is a lot of words,
Very
and that
wordy.
is insane. That is insane.
Wow, what an ability. Not only does it grant you, like, as a bonus action, which wizards don't get heaps of things that aren't spells and bonus actions, 60 feet ahead of you, which can expand your spell range, so keeping you further away from things, particularly if you're in open combats, not in tight little dungeon type things. But even if you go into a dungeon, you summon this thing, you can send it, and you're up to 300 feet ahead of you, and it can just fly into rooms and just be like, boom, blow up that room, fireball. All right, we're going to summon pixie, or whatever spells you've got to bring about. And then you just wait outside the room and clean up anything that happens to come out. Like, wow, what an ability this thing can do.
Yeah, the 7th level Echo Knight's ability, Echo Avatar,
Mm.
basically as an action, you can see through your Echo's eyes and hear through its ears, which this does with no action.
Mm.
Uh, and you're deafened and blinded with the Echo Avatar, whereas this one you're not.
Mm.
You can sustain up for 10 minutes. This one is how long?
It just goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one goes up to 1,000 feet. That's only 300, but it's just your Echo, so it can get attacked and destroyed. And that
This
this one you
Cauldron.
could go in and cast a fireball into a room of people.
Yeah.
It's and then summon it again for one spell slot and do it. You could clear a dungeon without going in.
At 10th level, you gain Master Scriviner. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can create one magic scroll by touching your wizardly quill to a blank piece of paper or parchment and cause one spell from your awakened spellbook to be copied onto the scroll. The spellbook must be within 5 feet of you to make this scroll. The chosen spell must be first or second level and must have a casting time of 1 action. Once in the scroll, the spell's power is enhanced, counting as 1 level higher than normal. You can cast the spell from the scroll by reading the action. The scroll is unintelligible to anyone else, and the spell vanishes from the scroll when you cast it or when you finish the next long rest. You are also adept at crafting scrolls, which is described in the treasure chapter of the Dungeon Master's Guide. The gold and time you must spend on such a scroll is halved if you use your wizardly quill. And the only thing I'll add to that is that Xenophar's has more information on scroll creation. So check with your DM if they're happy to use more detailed information to make things easier for yourself. One with the word, Mitch. Do you reckon you can take this one? Take a deep breath.
I'll try and do it in one breath. All right, one with word. Hang on, I got to do it like a deep diver. I'm going to make myself cough. Okay. At 14th level, your connection with the Awakened Spellbook has become so profound that the soul has become entwined with it. While the book is on your person, you can have advantage on all intelligence arcana checks on the spellbook helps with magical lore. Moreover, if you take the damage with the spellbook's mind is manifested, you can prevent all the damage dealt to yourself by taking a reaction to dismiss the spectral mind using its magic to save yourself. Then roll 3d6. The spellbook temporarily loses. But I'm not going to make it. How'd I go?
About halfway.
The spellbook. It's because of my asthma. The spellbook temporarily loses all spells of your choice that have a combined spell level equal to that of the roll or higher. So that's rolling 3d6. If you roll an 18, you've got to get rid of 18 combined spell levels,
Yeah.
which at 14th level it would be quite easy unless you're at the end of a dungeon. If there aren't enough spells in the spellbook to cover, you drop to 0 hit points. Makes sense. Until you finish 1d6 long rests, you are incapable of casting the lost spells, even if you find them on a scroll or in another spellbook. After you finish the required number of rests, the spells reappear in your spellbook. Once you use this reaction, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. So, in summing up that dribble that I did at the start, you have advantage on intelligence arcana checks
It's good.
as the spellbook helps you remember magical lore. When you take damage, you can prevent all of the damage by
Mm.
using your reaction to dismiss the spectral mind and then roll 3d6. The getting rid of spells from your spellbook equal to that. And once you use your reaction. So it's good. It's good. It's basically it's a Hail Mary save. If you're taking a
Yeah.
lot of damage, you can reduce it to 0. That's good. If you roll really low, this is an amazing reaction.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I guess it's good. It's a hefty price though, and if you are playing a dungeon where you're not having long rests and you're just doing a really, those ones where you're playing a game and session after session after session, you're just grueling through, running out of spell slots, and yeah, slowly getting to that point where you're like, okay, I've got to save this one spell for a smite, and that's all I've got. This is not for one of those campaigns, this subclass.
Mm.
How
I
about yourself?
don't mind that one. The problem I find with abilities that are only there to save you from death when you get to that brink is they shouldn't come up that often. Fingers crossed. You wouldn't want this coming up 3 times a session. Is that like things are going wrong? If you get a lot of use out of this, particularly a level 14 wizard, like you should have some protections around you. What did you think of the whole class?
I think this is a sneaky power pick.
Mm,
I think this is a min-max's dream. You could upset a lot of DMs. I I am actually like I've read it before and I just went over it just
mm,
because of the flavor wasn't there. Like so many subclasses in Tasha's. Like, look, you got the Swarm Keeper. You
oh yeah.
go in there and you're like, oh, I love this. That's really cool.
Mm,
You got the Rune Knight. Oh, this is well overpowered. Why have they made this monstrosity? You go through and they were all amazing. The Order of the Scribes, it just didn't have that buy power
yeah,
like
the
for me.
impact of it. Mm,
I couldn't get into it. Uh Mechanically,
mm.
this is crazy good.
Well, tell me
I'll get into that.
then, how are you going to play this as a character then, Mitch? Of course.
And this is going to be a wizard and this is where the bonus action to reaction comes in.
Yeah.
We're going to be sitting right at the front of the class, passing notes. And then if the teacher grabs it, reaction. Delete note.
Delete the words.
Everyone thinks they all sit behind us because they know we're the coolest. And what I'd really, really love to do with this character is starts off as honest nerd,
Mm,
Poindexter, like typical, and then makes friends with the cool rogue.
mm.
And this is where the min-maxing comes
Booger.
in.
Yeah.
Booger. Yeah, you make friends with Booger
Oh,
and you
sorry, he's a
start.
barbarian.
Yeah, he's. But you get in there and you do the get a level of rogue, and you use that for the expertise in arcana and investigation.
Yeah.
And then you start experimenting with a bit of elemental magics with one of the cool druggy type characters that's like really edgy, edgelord paladins and clerics.
Cool.
And maybe do a little bit of get into like not into communism, not into like all that stuff. You get into Tempest clericry,
All right.
and you take 2 levels of Tempest cleric,
Mm.
and by the time you can send your book in, you can send your book into a room full of bad guys, cast fireball like you're casting it,
Yep.
switch it to thunder damage, and also use your channel divinity to make it max damage.
No
Chef's
worries.
kiss.
For me, I'm thinking that you will have a relationship with this quill. It's what the whole class is about. So you'll have this quill, in which case the quill wants to be an artist. It draws. It wants to draw comics. It wants to do art scenes. It wants to do all this sort of stuff. And so it wants to draw on the walls of dungeons. It wants to draw comics. It wants to draw on your face and your other NPCs' faces when they're standing there around, when resting and sleeping. It's got a life of its own, and you should consider it to be a puppet-like piece, which I'll get into. But my wizard would then, under the effect of this quill that wants to keep pushing out this arty lifestyle slowly becomes revolutionary, and it's all about getting out there and graffitiing with the quill and trying to avoid the cops of the local baron or lord. And so he's going to take a lot of spells, such as illusion-like spells, message, alarm, disguise, stealth, illusionary script, invisibility, skywrite. And all the while, every time you go into a dungeon, the quill's just writing on the wall as you wander through, and it'd be that relationship I'd play between you and the quill that
Yeah.
would be the interesting part here.
So, player tips. The reason I said rogue multiclass is because I think having investigation, advantage, expertise, that sort of thing would be really good. Because one of the questions you're going to be asking when you're looting and dungeoning is, "Oh, is there any spell books? Is there any spell books?" And being able to search and reliably find them will allow your DM to gift you. When you get to the ones where you're sacrificing spells for a day or for several days,
Yep.
I would be bringing up proper notes. So doing one note, having a character sheet that you take, actually writing on the back, and noting down long rests, because this is the sort of thing that can get really messy. And if you're with a
Yeah.
group of people that don't take notes or they take notes poorly, it can be, and especially if you're not close friends, this could be a friction point for the group where somebody accuses you of cheating, things blow out of proportion. So good note taking for the Order of the Scribes wizard is essential.
Sounds good. And you can put little tallies every time you have a rest. And then the next day, when you use the ability again, you have different tallies that'll go on both, and then you'll
Yeah.
know when you get some back. For me, I'm saying go out and find a feather or a quill, or go to a $2 shop and buy one, or go pluck one off a duck and get one of these feathers and treat it like it's a puppet like thing, because you're going to have a relationship between you and the quill. You have to scold it, and it's going to get sad. You're going to have to come conversations and talk to people with it. It's going to be a piece at the table where you're going to have a relationship. And for like $2-3 at a dollar shop, I'm sure you can get. Doesn't even have to be a writing implement. Just has to be the feather, the quill like looking
Giant
thing.
feather duster.
Yeah. So use that as a puppet at the table, and you'll have some fun there.
I like that.
Make sure you look into the rules about writing scrolls in Xenophar's or the DMG, so that you know exactly what it costs to write your scrolls, to know the benefits you're gaining, the money you're saving by taking this class. And yeah, talk about what type of artistry the quill likes drawing. When you're asleep on the wall in a dungeon, you're sort of resting, and meanwhile the quill's drawing a comic book around your head, sort of thing, or a halo's doing artistry. What is it drawing? What is it doing? How is it bringing life to the situation?
I love the idea of this relationship between you and your quill, even if it's sort of projected your subconscious thoughts. So if there's an NPC or a PC that you have feelings for, you're asleep and it's drawing a beautiful mural with love hearts and like depicting her in battle or him in battle from a perfect angle with light shining, and everyone wakes up and they're just like,
You're trying to rub it out with your sleeves.
Yeah.
Don't worry about this.
you're quickly waving your quill over it, trying to. But
Make it disappear.
So, as a DM looking for this, I would be a horrible DM for this because I hand wave basically everything. So, the one good thing about this subclass is I think they knew there was people like me, so they also buffed other parts of the wizard. I think that's why they've got all those points. It's like, hey, this is what we intended, and here's for people that are in Mitchell's campaign to let them min max and blow shit up.
Cool.
Hand waving spell cost does reduce the effect this subclass can have, and being able to understand the transfer rates for spell slots. So read up on this subclass. That's basically it.
Yeah. The other one I can say is make sure when you're thinking of treasure and rewards that spell books and scrolls are semi-regular, at least regular enough there, because this wizard's going to be collecting them. It's going to be a hoarder in terms of spells, and he wants every spell because it gives him something. And maybe he can't afford it in the local town, but maybe he can do something for the local merchant slash wizard who can gift it to him if he just simply clears out or runs a few errands or does some things that this wizard needs to know or teaches them a spell back to them.
Ooh, I like that.
Spell exchange. It's those sort of things that will help build this spellbook, which will be a big thing which this character is probably trying to achieve. Right, Mitch, I think we've covered off on the points. By all means, if you have any other points, please let us know. I'd like to see how you play yours and how you can make this class the be-all and end-all of wizards. Some people say it's not that strong. Some people reckon it is quite powerful. I've looked at a lot of people online looking at the reviews on it, and there is mixed opinions. So let us know: is this a good class or is this a weak class?
Perfect.
Thanks for joining me again, Mitch. That takes out wizards for Tasha's for us now. So
God
we've
damn.
only got a few subclasses left. By all means, if you've been paying attention to this, thank you very much. And please let us know what other subclasses you want us to do once we finish with Tasha's, as we're questioning ourselves. What are we going to do next?
Well, we're definitely going to have fun, whatever it is. And what I will say to you people out there that think you're a better min-maxer than me, come up with a better level 8 build than I did using the Storm Sorcerer and this one. And let me know in the comments.
Sounds good.
Bring it.
All right,
Bring
mate.
it.
Catch you later at the gaming table.
See you, man.